Hello, everyone. Good afternoon to all. So, welcome to Shiva Spiritual Health Inner Values Academy. It is organizing a 5 days holistic healthcare program, and today is the third day. So, today we have Sister Amarjit Kaur Doowa from Thailand. She is residing in Thailand and she is a renowned speaker. And today we'll have deep insights on spirituality. She's going to share with us. So let me first introduce her to you. Sister Amarjit Kaur Doowa is a universal spiritual guide for over 25 years. An English teacher holding a master's degree in education from Australia, and is also currently doing her PhD in counseling at Total Wellness from US. She is also a Brahma Kumaris Universal Spiritual University teacher for the past 12 years, serving in Thailand and worldwide with over 100 episodes of spiritual services aired through Peace Music TV channel and Godlywood Studio. And also she is active in many social services also. She is actively involved in all the social services. So that also we'll share with you. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Not only does she share depths of Gyan and spirituality, she also does seva for underprivileged children to be educated and helping slum dwellers also for the past 5 years, and has been involved in many worldly disasters sevas in the past 20 years since the tsunami days. She has represented universal spirituality in many world forums such as URI, United Nations, HWPL, Brahma Kumaris, Healing Our Earth, etc. She has also conducted, organized, and taught in spiritual camps in Thailand and abroad over the years. This service is still going on as required. So we can see that we have a very special speaker with us today. She's going to share her spiritual insights with us today. So I welcome you, Sister Amarjit. Now the session is all yours. We are eagerly waiting to listen from you. Okay. So all the participants are warmly welcome. All of you will enjoy this session very much. Okay, Sister, welcome once again.
Namaste, and thank you, Gurpreet, for the warm introduction. And thank you, Shiv Academy, for giving me this opportunity to share what is closest to my heart. And good afternoon to all of you, all the participants and the host and everyone out there who's watching today. Spirituality is a topic that's closest to my heart. And I actually consider myself a universal spiritual guide. And I use the word universal, but actually the word spiritual is already pretty universal. Okay, so when we say the word spiritual, what do we mean? Okay? It comes from the root word spirit. Now, spirit, we hear the word spirit being used very commonly. And today I'm not going to touch on, I would like to ask the speakers to please mute yourself. I think, Gurpreet, if you can mute the participants, would be nice. Gurpreet? Hello? Gurpreet, can you mute all the participants because we can hear what they are speaking? Okay, I have unmuted myself. Thank you.
Hi.
Yeah, so I'll continue.
Yes.
Okay, to understand the word spirituality and the word spirit, I will start with giving an example of ourselves as because everybody has a very, there are many meanings to the word, but let's have an experience of it. So let's look at me, each one of us. Okay, when did we come into this world? And we will realize that we come into this world through the womb of the mother, right? So that means when I'm in the womb of the mother, at perhaps 3 months or 4 months of her pregnancy, how small am I? Me, this a body that I see sitting here in front of you, I was definitely not this. But yet, I was that entity that was in the womb of the mother, right? So I am that spirit that was in the womb of the mother. And that little energy or life force that dwelled in the womb of the mother, and the body started forming around it. So as the body formed around it, what happens is the body starts expanding in the womb. Different organs comes later. So the first is the life force, the life energy in the womb. And then the features and the sensual organs starts getting formed, the 5 senses, like the eyes, the nose. So over the 9 months that I'm in the womb, I have changed from just a combination of 1 or 2 cells into the automatic multiplication of those cells and the forming of an embryo in the womb. And then when I come out of the womb, I come out as a little baby, right? So the spirit is that energy, life force that is within me, within this. I say me, I don't want to say me for the body, because me is actually that spirit, and this body is actually the host in which I'm present. So the energy and life force that entered the womb of the mother at that first moment that it enters, which we don't know when, it could be 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, we don't know. But the moment there's a second heartbeat, the moment the doctors say, oh, there's a heartbeat, that means your baby is very much present now. So I am that spirit, life force, life energy that allows me as a human being to exist. Okay, so that's the meaning of spirituality. Now, why do we need to understand spirituality and who I am? Because I don't exist just as this body that is visible. And when I do exist just as this image, as this face, as this person, as this identity, that's the first ego or body consciousness that takes me into situations that cause me pain, hurt, and unhappiness. So because when I'm separate from the role that I'm playing, and we can see that this body has been changing over time, right? So when I came out of the mother's womb, I was so tiny. And then I grew bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And even the name that I have adopted, that I have today, like she introduced me as Amarjit, but actually this body's name is Amarjit. I was in the womb nameless, beyond name as well, beyond form at that point. So, and the form keeps changing. Even today, my form changes. And as I grow older, my form will keep changing as well. So I'm that spirit inside that has allowed this body that is making this body function and play a role. Gurpreet, Can you somehow on my screen put my face as well? Because I can see somebody's, the big screen for me is changing all the time. So it's a bit of a distraction. Yeah, okay. Is that better? Okay. So when now I'm looking again at that spirit that I am. So actually when we introduce ourselves,
Is it okay now? Is it okay now?
Actually, now I see holistic healthcare on the screen. I don't see myself on the big screen.
Okay.
I'm not sure about the other participants. Do you see me on the big screen or do you see holistic healthcare?
Yes, I can see you. I am able to see you.
That's fine. Then keeping the holistic healthcare for me is fine. Okay. So I'll continue. Because just now I was seeing people moving in the videos right in the center. So we come back to the topic of spirituality. The topic of spirituality is actually who I am. When I'm clear about who I am, then I can improve. I can understand me. I can understand the dynamics of the mind. I can understand things going on around me. I can understand a lot of things. And even today, we're going to be touching on the topic of karma and drama. Drama as in the world drama. So I hope you stay till the end of today's session, because what you're going to gain today is not available in the education system, the normal education system. It is something that you get to hear by grace or by your intention somewhere inside each one of you that has been waiting to hear the depths of truth of your own identity and your own consciousness. So in another word we can use for spirit is consciousness. Let me explain why I use the word consciousness. Spirit is beyond consciousness. Yes, there's two sides to the coin of the word spirituality. One side is the fact that my presence in this body allows me to be alive. And that part I'm not in control of. So you can also call that the subtle consciousness, that energy, life force, the one that controls the matter. Like my presence in this body allows my eyes to see, my nose to smell, my mouth to speak, and all these senses. But beyond these five senses and what I'm moving, the consciousness is also allowing the heart to beat and the different systems in the body to function, like the digestive system, the circulatory system, the nervous system. All these different systems in the body is also functioning because of that life force energy that is me in this body, and that came in from the womb of the mother. Now, when we look at the end of this life, we will be able to see, because the birth and the end of this life gives a clarity into who I am. So we know our birth. Now let's just look at death, or when the spirit departs from the body. So here I am alive, that energy life form, a force inside that is making the body move and have all these physical reactions as well. Suddenly something happens, like a heart fail or right now, and I drop dead. So when the body drops dead, it's very much the same as the alive body in the initial stages. It looks the same, the eyes are the same, the hair is the same, the face is the same, especially in the first few hours. That is why it's very difficult to accept that I have passed on. So, but after 2 hours or even after a few days, you will notice that I think the new participant joins, you have to mute them because they can be heard. The new participant. Thank you. So when we look at the end of the life, I would like to ask all of you all who are present to be a bit focused, because I mean, from seeing the times when few of you are unmuted, that there's a lot of noise going on. So just this, when you want to understand spirituality, the first thing you need is silence and stillness. Okay, because you're understanding something that is not visible, that is not seen by the eyes, or that doesn't have a sound, that doesn't have a vision. So to understand that, firstly, you have to be very still in your consciousness and in your body. The body being still helps your mind and your consciousness to understand such deep topics. Okay, so now we come back to that point of death. So the body, we're going to see what happens when the body is alive, the difference between the body when alive and dead. So when we see that difference, then we understand the spirit, because what happens in the body, that it stops functioning. The eyes can't see anymore of the dead body, the corpse. The ears can't hear. The mouth can't talk or taste or smell or eat. The hands and legs can't move. So all these physical senses have stopped, and even the internal systems, the digestive system, circulatory system, everything has stopped functioning. The circulatory system, the our nervous system, everything has stopped functioning. And after a few hours or a few days, this body starts rotting, and even the physical changes. And so even my mother, who loves me the most, will say she's gone. But the body is there. But everybody will say she's gone. And the body has to be burnt or buried, because it starts rotting and it starts decaying in front of our eyes. And those who love us actually can't take that, that whatever is happening. So when we understand these things, then we know that something left this living, alive body, something left it in that instant that made it become a dead corpse. So now I want you to look at yourselves with your inner eye. We have an inner eye, means the image, the vision on your inside your head. We can see something. Like if I tell you to see red rose, then you can visualize a red rose, even though your eyes are not seeing a red rose outside. You can use your inner vision to create a red rose in your mind. So that screen on which you see the red rose, I want you to see yourself alive, thriving in your particular face, in your particular identity, and suddenly to see yourselves as a corpse, drop dead. And that corpse is going to get burnt or buried. It's not working. But you are separate from it, because you come in the womb of the mother as that invisible entity, and you leave the body as an invisible entity too. So that invisible entity, that is you, is the spirit, is the soul, is Atma, is the real you. And in that consciousness, that spirit that is you, what else is there in there? What else is missing in the dead body is all the things that is in you consciousness. So we can see that besides the physical part and the life force and the energy, the other side of the coin is also missing. That is the mind, the ability to feel. These are invisible, because what we think, our thoughts are missing. In the dead body, there are no thoughts. In the dead body, there are no memories. There are no experiences. There are no feelings. There are no visions. There are no nothing. The mind is missing. So then we can say that the spirit that I am, besides being a life force energy, keeping this body alive and running and awake and alert, I'm also the invisible part, and the individual part. This is the difference between each one of us. Each one of us is a spirit in this body, but the difference between each one of us is our mind. And with that comes our intellect and our impressions. That means from the moment I come into this world, whatever has been taught to me, whatever I have learned, whatever I have been told by my parents, by my relatives, by my family members, by my friends, by my education institutes, by my workplace, by the culture and the country in which I am living, by my religion, by everything around me. I have been brainwashed in a way to be who I am. So all those impressions are also in the soul, in the spirit. And that makes each one of us different. Because when you look at corpse, when you look at the corpse of anyone, it's the same. It's just 5 elements of matter that is just lying immovable, unlike, cannot move and cannot be and not doing anything. There's no life force in it, and everyone is the same as a corpse, and it is useless, and so it is burnt and buried. But when each corpse has a spirit in it, when each body has a spirit in it, and we are alive, we are all individual. We're not the same. We have the same energy and life force that each human being has a common factor, that the systems of the body is functioning, all these digestive system, circulatory system, nervous system, and all the things that's happening inside that keeps the body alive, and which I'm not in control of, because even if I tell my heart, stop beating, it will still beat. If I tell my circulatory system, enough, don't circulate blood anymore, it doesn't listen to me. So these are the presence of the spirit in the body itself makes the body alive. It keeps the body running and alive, that life force. But the part of the spirit that we're going to touch today is the uncommon factor, the one that makes each one of us, each spirit, different from the other. And that is our mind, our intellect, our impressions, our memories. So in Hindi, we say man, buddhi, and sanskar. In English, we say mind, intellect, and impressions. So these are 3 things that is in the spirit. But yet, we can also separate consciousness from thought. Why? Because when I'm consciously thinking something, there's an unconscious and subconscious layer that is also very much present that backs up my thinking. For example, when I see someone smoking, my thought will be in accordance with what I have learned and what I have in the input. It's like a computer, whatever you have put inside when you were small. If it was put in your system that smoking is bad for health, it gives cancer, then you will judge and look at the person smoking and say, oh, that's not nice, that's bad. Oh, I don't want to breathe in this smoke. So your thought consciously that you don't like that smoke or the smoking is coming from a subconscious and unconscious level of having been impressed upon at some point in your life by that knowledge and that information. So even though you're consciously aware of what you're thinking, but the impressions that were made into your system are not consciously in your thinking at that point. So we have layers of consciousness, and whatever we know in this life since we came out as a little baby till today, all that is in our system, and that makes us behave and act in the way that we behave and act. And that's why each one of us behaves and acts differently from the other, because we have been brought up differently in different homes by different people around us, but in a different environment, different culture, different religion, different caste, different gender. So we all have these impressions. And so the spirit or the soul or who I am is consciousness at a conscious level and consciousness at a subconscious and unconscious level. Okay, so when we talk of consciousness now, we refer to the whole of it, and yet the life force and the energy as well. Because what I think is just part of me, is not completely who I am. Because if I think, like if someone who hasn't understood that you're a spirit and you ask them who you are. Everybody in this world, even me, before I understood consciousness or spirituality, I was just Amarjit. I'm just a woman or a lady, and in this life, and born in a Sikh family, and living my life in Thailand as a mother, and carrying on my duties daily. I wake up and I do this and do that, and then I eat and I run this body, and then I exercise and I go to sleep at night, and again I'm getting up and doing the same thing. It's like I felt at a certain point in my life that was very robotic. Now I can see myself fully in the screen, and it makes it so much easier. Okay, thank you. So that consciousness, when I awaken from, and I used to have these questions at that point in my life when I felt, is that what life is about? What is the meaning of life? Am I just here to get up and eat and sleep and take care of my children and go and work and earn money? What is it? It seemed like there was more. And where am I from? And all these questions used to be in my mind. So when I understood spirituality, it was an awakening. It was an awakening of the awareness, and even the consciousness of knowing that what I know consciously and what I'm doing consciously isn't me, is an impression of what I have been psyched by the world around me. And so when you're aware of that and you're awakened to that, you can start changing. You can start being in control of your mind. And so spirituality brings you into awakening your own mind, awakening your own self, awakening your own, and being responsible for everything. Okay, so the next thing I want to say is, now that we kind of understand that I'm this life force and energy that has a mind, that can think, that can feel, and that can see. Because like I said, you can see the red rose even though the eyes are not seeing the red rose. So the inner screen in your mind where you see the red rose, now that space or that screen is the third eye, is the eye. You know, these eyes, why we say EYE is because EYE, the eyes see. So in that screen you can see. And so that's why it's also called the third eye, alphabet I, me, the third me, the real me. So I am, when I use this space in my mind to have a vision, you know, where I see the red rose, if I just see the red rose there in my mind's eye, you can close your eyes to see it in the beginning, and then slowly open your eyes and still hold the picture of the red rose. So you'll be able to look at me here and yet see the picture of the red rose in your mind. And that's what we do when we think of people. Like, for example, when I say chocolate banana sundae, immediately your screen is replaced by a chocolate banana sundae. And if you like it, you will start feeling, have a feeling for it. It's really yummy. Likewise, if I say my mother, and immediately you'll feel love, and you'll feel, oh, and you see the face of your mother. And it's just not just a screen, it's a movie. Because if I say, oh, you're playing with your mother, you're sleeping in your mother's lap, immediately you can see that happening alive in the screen of your mind. So I'm drawing your attention to the screen of your mind, which is the place or the seat of the spirit, the seat of the soul. Okay, because spirituality is understanding the spirit, who I am, where is the spirit, who is the spirit, what is the spirit, how does it work, what does it do, so that once you know all that, then you can use that and live a better life. And that's what all scriptures actually talk about. And but we didn't understand really truly as an experience that I am that entity and where I reside. I never knew that. And I had done a lot of studies of a lot of scriptures before I was blessed to have received this knowledge and had this experience of seeing consciousness and feeling consciousness. Okay, so now you have an idea of how each spirit is different from each other and where the spirit resides in this body. Because that screen of the mind is where the consciousness of the spirit resides. If I say, and that's why when a person is paralyzed, they're usually paralyzed from the neck down, because the spirit doesn't reside in any other part of the body. And it's another way of seeing it is, if you cut your arm off, you're still alive. And you cut any part of your body off, even the heart transplant nowadays, you can take out the heart and put a new heart, still alive, right? So even the eyes can be, removed, or you can become blind and you're still alive. And you can't hear, but you're still alive. You might lose your sense of smell, but you're still alive. And you might be dumb, but you're still alive. So the consciousness or the spirit that keeps you alive, the seat of the soul, is here in the center of the forehead, behind the eyes, where you see the red rose, where you see the picture of your mother. So now that you are this invisible energy point of light, invisible as in tiny, very tiny. Yes, thank you very much, Gurpreet. So the picture on the screen gives you an idea of that consciousness. Okay, it's like a twinkling little star, but a twinkling little star is up in the sky in the black background. But when we are, and it's a bit different. It's like a black and white. When you look at the star, you can't see a star during the day, but you as consciousness are there all the time. And your visibility, actually, you can't see with these eyes. So you visualize, put this vision in your mind, that this little sparkling invisible point of light that you are, and that is the energy source for keeping your whole body alive, from the top of your head to the tip of your toes and to the tip of your fingers. Every part of you is, yes, this is another beautiful picture of showing the seat of the soul in the body. So it's kind of there near the hypothalamus and near the pituitary gland, near the brain. And yes, it runs the body through the brain. And that's why when we activate the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, we actually, that's where the growth hormones are. And that's the core part of the body. Now, the seat of the soul is there, but yet you can't touch it. You can't see it with these eyes or any scientific equipment either. No matter how advanced that scientific equipment is, you can't see the soul with a naked eye or with any equipment. But it is suspended inside, just the way the sun, if you look at the sun is the expanded version of the best thing that you can relate to. The spirit is the sun, but the sun is the huge version of the spirit, because you see, the sun is not just a ball of fire. We look at it as a huge ball of fire, but what does it do? It gives energy, it gives life, it gives light. We can't just say the sun gives only light and warmth. It actually gives energy, because plants, if you take a plant and you give it light and you give it heat, it will not grow. But if you put it in the sun, that energy, so it gives energy as well. So, and the sun, even though we draw all the curtains and we live in the cave where the sunlight doesn't reach, and the warmth of the sun also doesn't reach, but the life-giving force of the sun still reaches, okay, invisibly. So, and the sun is suspended in space without any pillars, without any ropes, without being attached to anything. Likewise, and the way the planets are suspended in space as well. So likewise, the soul is suspended in the hypothalamus beyond beyond any physical five senses. So it's like the sixth element, the element that we can only visualize. So we use our inner vision to see ourselves as this beautiful, sparkling point of light. And that's why I put the bindi here. The bindi is a reminder that I'm a soul, reminder for you and reminder for myself that I'm a soul and I'm a spirit, because it's like a dot. And so when I now I have a picture of who I am, of the spirit, as a sparkling, beautiful point of light near the hypothalamus. I have an idea of how I come in the womb of the mother and live through this body, and this body changes. And this body that I think is Amarjit, as a little girl, was a smaller body. And as I grow older, this body will change and become an old woman. So this physical being that I am is changing. But that inner observer that actually has memories of me as a child, as a baby, is the same. And it sees the body as a baby, and it sees the body as now, and it can even see the body when it will grow older. So that observer, that consciousness is that observer. Beyond thoughts again, I'll say. But when you consciously tune into your consciousness, you become the consciousness. So you become the observer. So right now in this moment, we can do a little tuning in to feel, tuning into your consciousness, you don't have to, it can become natural with practice. In the beginning, yes, you have to be still and you have to be calm and you have to be focused. Okay. And I even wear this pendant all the time to remind others and myself of, that little diamond, little point that I am. So to tune yourself in the beginning, it needs practice. So stillness and focused thought is important. But later, when you actually become good at it, you can become the observer of all situations happening around you. You can become consciousness while things are happening. And so that's a little advanced stage that we won't get into right now. So we'll just do a little practice of me in that beautiful. And another thing, let me say, is me, the spirit, right? Once now that you've recognized where I sit and what I am and where, and how I come into this, how I get this body. I won't say I come into this body. Yeah, I come into the body when it starts forming as cells, yes. And I grow, the body grows, and I remain in that body till I leave the body and go into another womb of another mother. So in each lifetime, we can have different cultures, different countries, different religions, different languages. We can have different experiences. We can have experiences as a male body or a female body. But the consciousness is beyond gender, beyond culture, beyond religion, beyond caste, beyond creed. And each one of us in this entire universe, each human being is a spirit, is that spirit. So we are all brothers and sisters, siblings. If we look at the spiritual family as spirituality, we are all one huge family because we're all the same. We come into this world to play a role in this human body, but we move from one body to another. And so we are all actually the same. So who am I, where I am, what I am? Now, what is it that I, the spirit, want? Because in life, we are so used to what Amarjit wants, what this body wants, because from morning when we get up, we clean this body. We feed it food because the body needs food to grow. And we exercise to keep this body healthy. And we beautify this body. We put creams and we wear good clothes and good jewelry and makeup and everything we do for this body. We groom the hair, we groom ourselves. So we're doing everything for this body that has been changing from small till now. But what have we done for the spirit? Nothing. And whatever we are doing for this body, why are we doing it? What is the purpose of me wanting to wear nice clothes? To be happy, right? Happiness. To be loved. We want to go sometimes to enjoy. So these are the qualities that are hidden. And everything that we do for the outside body is to reach that inside quality. Like a child will want a car, a toy car. And that'll be the biggest thing it wants. And as it grows bigger, it'll want a bigger remote control car. And then as you grow up, you want a real car. And then you reach a point that, no, I don't want a car, I want a home. Or I want a spouse, or I want children. And then my children want cars, and the whole thing starts all over again. So what is it? These physical desires that we have, these external desires and wants that we have, they are never ending and they keep changing. But the reason we feel we want these external things, which is because we think we are the body, we think that we get that love and peace and joy from outside. But actually, when we understand what the spirit is, then we start feeding the spirit what it wants from the inside. Because the spirit is invisible, we have to feed it invisibly too. And just as you take care of the body outside and you feed it outside, so when we take care of the spirit, then we feed it inside. So before we start feeding it, just to understand what the spirit, what is food for the spirit, food for who I am. So like what we said, happiness. So the core virtues of the spirit that we can say is peace. Number one, you want to be peaceful. When you're fighting with anyone or anything, you don't want to, you're not thinking of happiness, you just want peace. So peace is the main, like world peace. Everybody's talking about peace. Everybody wants peace. We want love, for sure. We want love. We seek love. Even the worst of people will want love. We'll have a wife or a child or a mother. You know, we want what else do we want? Love, peace, purity. We want purity. We want joy. We want happiness, right? We want knowledge. We seek knowledge to know who we are, what we are. We seek purity. Purity as in, you know, when we look at baby, how pure and innocent and loving they are. And, you know, as a newborn child, it doesn't even distinguish between wanting to be with this one or that one. No, any hand, any warmth that carries it with love and feeds it and just holds it with that purity, it's okay. It doesn't even have to be your mother. So a nurse can handle, a nanny can handle everything. So the yes, so on the screen now we can see the qualities of the soul, and yeah, peace, love, happiness, knowledge, pure power, purity, and bliss. Now, this power is not about ego and being able to control others. No, it's the power to understand my own mind and actions. For example, when we say, I don't want to get angry, but I get angry. And I say, I know anger is bad. We've learned by now that being angry is bad, yet we are not in control of ourselves. So I think go back to the picture of the 7 virtues is better. Yeah, thank you. We'll just stay at this for some time. So power to understand and power to be what I want to be, in a way to win over my mind and my consciousness, or to become that. And that's what in the scriptures, especially in the 6 scriptures, it says man jeete jag jeet, means to win the mind, you win the world, or you win everything. So but we don't have the ability to win our mind because we are not feeding the spirit anything. We are only feeding outside. We're only taking care of everything outside. We haven't focused on who I am, who and what the spirit needs, and how to feed the spirit is the next step. So first we understand what I need first before we will go into the next step, which is how to feed the spirit. These are the things that the 7 virtues of the soul, of course there's much more, but this is the cream of what we want. So when purity is that innocence of the child, and bliss is that inner feeling of happiness and elevated stage that sometimes you feel even beyond anything, beyond external things, that quality of being happy no matter what. So these are the virtues that the qualities of the soul, or the virtues that we need to fill up. Now, why do I not feel peaceful and loving and happiness and knowledge and purity and bliss and power? Is because from small, I have not been told who I am, what I am. I have been told that I'm a woman, I'm a Sikh, I have to eat like this, live like this, wear these clothes, go to this school, speak like this, behave like this, study maths, study English, geography, history, all these things. And we like mechanically from small, whatever you're trained to do, like soldiers, we do it. So we have actually been psyched to be the way we are. And yet we have our role models like people like Buddha, Jesus, Guru Nanak. They are role models, these great messengers of the world, the best of them, even Shankaracharya, any of these amazing souls. Yet, if you look at their lives and you look at our lives, we don't live anywhere like them. We don't, our daily routine is nothing like what they do. We earn, and we're so focused on earning. We learn everything in order to earn money. We never learn for the sake of learning. We just learn so that we can use it and we can make money. And we just fill our bank accounts and we have all these external things that we have accumulated. And at the end of the day, when I leave the body, am I taking anything with me? No, we know that, and yet we are doing it. So these role models of ours in this world, huge, beautiful souls, how did they live? I mean, when you have a role model, at least you need to aim to live like our role models, right? But what are we doing is we are not living like our role models. We are living the way we've been taught to live by our people around us. And that's not anyone's fault. It's just the way time is. And we will be understanding that when we do about drama and the cycle of time. So we have lived many lifetimes. And because we have lived many lifetimes, we have lost our powers. Initially, when we as souls play a role in the first body, in the first lifetime, we are completely beautiful. We have all these beautiful powers and all these beautiful qualities of love, peace, joy, knowledge. We are empowered. We don't have anger at all. This, anger, lust, greed, ego, attachment, unheard of. Unheard of. It's only having lived multiple lifetimes, the soul loses its power. Just as a phone or any equipment that needs energy loses its energy, loses its power, and becomes from 100% to a 2% and 1%. Likewise, I, the spirit, from 100% lose my power and become depleted. And even in this lifetime, when I'm born, as a child, I'm quite empowered all over again. And that's why I'm pure and happy and beautiful. And most children are very innocent and quite easy to please and happy. But as we grow, we start again depleting. And our innocence goes, our purity goes, our ability to love goes. And then we start seeking love. And in life, because we didn't know that I am love, that the soul, the qualities of the soul means I am, the quality of the spirit means I am that, then I don't need to seek that from outside, because that's who I am from inside. Then I need to fill up from inside. So how are we going to fill up? Before I step into the next point of Gyan, I want to mention that as I speak, and if you have any questions, you can write it in the chat, and Gurpreet will bring it forth. Gurpreet will bring it forth so that we will address any questions as well. As we get, maybe towards the end of the session, we'll address the different questions. So you just make note of any questions and just put it in the chat. Maybe during the course of the afternoon, some questions may get answered automatically and some questions may not. So we will answer them for sure. Okay, so that was in essence on the topic of spirituality, which is a very big topic. But today we've been able to understand how, what, where, what am I, where am I, how I come into this body, when do I leave this body, and what do I need and what do I do in this body. So we are doing automatically everything that we do in this body. We are doing it to be happy, to be peaceful, to be knowledgeable, to be pure, to be loving, in essence. But we don't realize it because we are doing from the outward in rather than from the inward out. So now that we have had a little bit of an experience as a spirit, we can start finding out the way to fill ourselves with these powers. So I'm sure you would like to know, how can I stay empowered? How can I fill myself, right? Yes, Gurpreet? I can't hear you. I don't know why.
I said that there are no questions.
Okay,
The
that's
session
fine.
is going very well. There are no questions. Everybody is understanding and enjoying a lot.
Okay, perfect. So I will continue, and now I will I will step into how to empower yourself, and then it will go into karam and also drama. Okay, we will put it all in a nutshell. And before I leave you, I promise we will have a short guided meditation that will give you an experience. Actually, even while I'm speaking, there are a lot of times I'm trying to give you an experience, if you can see. And if you flow with your vision with me, if you flow with your mind, and if you're still and if you're silent in your space, in your homes or wherever you are, and you allow yourself to have those visions that I'm trying to create verbally and through a few sharings on the screen, you will definitely be empowered and definitely understand beyond mere words, beyond the sound of and the ears. You will have an experience in your consciousness. Okay, so I'll continue. So we reached a point where, let me expand a little on spirituality. I have one or two examples that I want to share to just give it more essence and more fun. Okay, I will share with you, like, for example, now we are here in the world to play a role, and we all want to have fun. Everybody wants to enjoy, right? So it's like in the movies when we see a film hero like Amitabh Bachchan. Now he's playing a role, and when he plays a role, some roles he plays are not so fancy. I mean, his life is rich and happy and has a car, and but when he's playing a role like in Coolie, a movie, and he's a coolie, and he's or a poor man with in a hut, and whose mother is dying, and so he has all these he's acting the role of those poor people, and he's sad, and he's going into his role and screaming and crying and asking for help, and no money and no medicine, and his mother's going to die, and all these things get created. And imagine now, in the midst of that scene that he's playing, if he has amnesia. Suddenly, if he has amnesia and he can't wake up from it, and he's in that role of a poor man, and then even if you tell him, you're Amitabh, you're not a poor man, it's just a role you're playing, he won't believe you because he has amnesia. Likewise, we are playing a role, and I'm playing a role of Amarjit, and I have amnesia. I don't remember that I'm a spirit. I think I'm this body. And so I get dragged into the problems of this body and sucked into everything that is associated with this role play. So if I'm able to come above my role play, and then I can enjoy the role play, just as Amitabh, knowing he's Amitabh, he can act very beautifully in whatever role you give him. And he will still know who he is, right? And instead of going into amnesia and losing his identity completely. So we are in amnesia. Now, we may not awaken from the amnesia, but there's a way that you can have an experience. So I will touch on that way again now I'm going to touch on how to get power. Because when we know how to get power, that's how we will know how to awaken from our amnesia, even while we are in amnesia. In the case of this example that I'm giving you of Amitabh, what would someone have to do? Someone would, like, his wife would take him home and give him good clothes and show him the house and say, this is your home, this is your father, this is your mother, I'm your wife, these are your children. And he'll be like, oh, I don't remember. But he will keep living like that. And slowly, even though his amnesia may never come back, what will happen is he'll start living that life and realizing, okay, I've forgotten, but this is who I am. But I've forgotten, but this is who I am. So he'll start accepting who he is, despite having forgotten, despite having amnesia. So likewise, when we understand this gyan about spirituality, this depth of knowledge, we will wake up from the amnesia. We will still be in amnesia, but we will know and accept that, okay, I'm in amnesia, but now I can move on in the true character that I am. And Amitabh will move on in the character of Amitabh, even though his amnesia didn't come back. He didn't come out of being in amnesia. So likewise, we, with this gyan, with this understanding, we will awaken our consciousness and awaken our identities and awaken the truth of who I am and the truth of spirituality. And we will be able to live a better life, because now we know that we're just playing roles. So we can play the roles without getting affected by it. So now I can play my role as Amarjit. And of course, from time to time, because I've been playing this role for 55 years and I've just heard this knowledge for a few years, so it might, or a few moments. So in the beginning, especially, you are still in amnesia. So it takes time. Like for me, even 12 years, I've been awakened to this consciousness. It still takes time to, sometimes I can wake up very quickly in moments and I'm like fine and detached and everything. But sometimes I get sucked into my role play, yes, and get sad and get unhappy and go up and down in life. But then what happens is, the moment I do my meditation, I do my connection, or the moment I realize and aware, become conscious of soul again,